Hello, and thank you for joining our 2024 Sustainability webinar. We are really excited to share with you how Asper Investment Management stepped up our game on sustainability in 2023. My name is Jiska, Head of Sustainability at Asper. And today with me are Luigi, our CEO, and Emma, Chief Investment Officer. We host this webinar every year, and the idea is to very openly share with you and discuss our progress on environmental, social, and governance initiatives. This webinar also provides a valuable opportunity to engage with you on some of the most critical topics around sustainable investments, the challenges of decarbonization, social responsibility, and the complexity and fast changes of regulation. We have structured this webinar around three sustainability pillars. First, our investments. Secondly, our collaboration with investments of our clients and the industry. And third, our internal operations. For each pillar, we will outline our approach and highlight our main achievements of 2023. You can find more information in our 2023 integrated report. And I also hope that in this presentation you will get an idea not only of the data and numbers, but also of the extent of the influence that our portfolio companies have, of the thoroughness of our approach from investment strategy to operations and governance, and of course for the enthusiasm of our team to drive us all and build the new. We are convinced that private equity is a key player in the transition, not only as a source of funding, but also because of its capacity to create strong collaborations needed to drive real change while maintaining the highest standards. We hope you will find this presentation useful and informative, and we look forward to hearing your feedback and interaction with you in the following days. So let's begin with an overview of our ESG progress in 2023. Asper's mission is to build the new sustainable energy infrastructure required to decarbonize today's and future energy needs. In 2023, we kept our focus on the development, construction, and operation of onshore wind projects, as well as sustainable district heating networks within Europe. And this is because there is still a big challenge ahead of us. To achieve the global climate targets, we need to quickly shift to a low-carbon energy system. We really believe that private markets, especially private equity sector, with a focus on equity growth, have both the potential and the responsibility to make a significant impact by investing in greenfield projects that advance the energy transition and tackle climate change. Today's webinar, we will show how Asper incorporates this mindset into sustainable investment approach and how we support our clients in their transition towards net zero. Our unique platform building approach provides us with a clear view of the greenfield project we will develop over time and the additionality and impact that will be achieved. And coming back to the three sustainability pillars I just mentioned, let's begin with discussing our investments. We are proud to report that together with our platforms, we have built over 1,300 megawatts of sustainable energy capacity across Europe to date. And this is a very powerful indicator of our sustainable impact. It's demonstrating the additionality we deliver by avoiding carbon emissions. The renewable energy we generate displaces emissions that would otherwise be produced by fossil fuel-based energy sources. And to date, we have already avoided more than 23,000 kilotons of emissions over the lifetime of our projects. We invested over 100 million euros in building new sustainable assets in 2023, contributing to a total of 2 billion euros in investments to date. And these investments are all classified as sustainable investments. And to underscore this, we have our 4 funds all labeled as an Article 9 fund under the European Sustainable Finance Disclosure Regulation, also known as the SFDR. And this Article 9 label is the most sustainable label currently available in the market. And moving to clients and industry, we are very happy to share that we created 68 million euros value in 2023, bringing the total value generated for our clients to over 429 million euros to date. We demonstrated our industry leadership by winning 9 ESG awards for our funds, initiatives and publications we wrote in 2023. We have contributed and participated to industry initiatives and standards such as GRESB and PRI as part of our efforts to raise the bar in the industry. We achieved excellent results on our assessments, which measure our yearly sustainability performance at our funds, portfolio companies, as well as our own firm level. And last but not least, our firm. The Asper team grew by 17% in 2023. Reaching now 28 employees, working from 2 hubs, one in Amsterdam and one in London. And we're pleased to expand not only the size of the team, but also the range of diverse backgrounds and experience they bring into the mix. Our gender diversity numbers went slightly up in 2023, reaching now an above industry average of 31% women in our investment team. Additionally, our pledge to net zero, which we made officially in 2022, is still strong, as we are working now with our portfolio companies to implement science-based targets for our portfolio. This was a brief summary of the results of 2023. Now I will pass over to Emma, who will show us some of the examples and case studies we worked on in 2023 that helped us achieving these outcomes.
Good afternoon. My name's Emma Tinker. I'm Chief Investment Officer at Asper, and I oversee our investment strategy, our origination and our strategic business planning for existing platforms and for our new investments. Now today I will walk you through our main ESG achievements from our investments in 2023 and really try to sort of bring to life some of the many things you will have read in our report that you've received. Very briefly, I'll start with a refresher of our responsible investment approach. So as a member of the UNPRI, which is the United Nations Principles for Responsible Investment, since 2016, we developed our responsible investment approach according to its 6 core principles. And we particularly think that the private equity sector has a great opportunity to create impact by looking at the way that we exercise the control over our investment decisions and over sustainability criteria and performance monitoring against those criteria. Now basically, our responsible investment strategy integrates ESG at every step of our investment process. Pre-investment? Well, first we rigorously screen potential new portfolio companies. As you know well, our funds only invest in sustainable real assets that make a positive contribution to environmental sustainability by reducing carbon emissions. But we still very thoroughly assess ESG risks and we create mitigation plans accordingly. And we ensure that appropriate ESG due diligence is performed on every new investment with the assistance, where necessary, of third-party technical experts. Then moving post-investment for ongoing management, well, we sit on the boards of our portfolio companies and indeed we would normally speak to them on a day-to-day basis. We help them do well financially, but we also help them do well in ESG. We support our portfolio companies with knowledge, with skills to help them get better at ESG and in particular how to grow and develop what they are able to achieve in terms of ESG, data collection, reporting, ambition as they grow their businesses. We support a lot of knowledge sharing, both knowledge that we have from working with platforms for many years, but also we foster a lot of cross-platform collaboration. And as you can imagine, there are a lot of learnings and similarities across our platforms that saves everyone a lot of time and effort and allows us to roll out best practice. We support projects. Where needed, we provide additional funding both for ESG data collection and reporting and for specific projects within the platforms. We ask each platform to help their local communities and the nature around their projects. We gather ESG reports and KPIs from each platform every 3 months. We check them often, and this allows us to set goals and rules and plans for ESG. And this is how we use the Asper sustainability framework for every new platform, making sure that ESG stays on the agenda and becomes an integrated topic at every board meeting. And as I mentioned, and you'll hear from us in other forums as well, we really see a clear opportunity for the private equity industry to do what it does best, to supply investment capital, but to help businesses accelerate sustainable growth. And we think that private equity is a superior model for financing the energy transition because we can foster tighter partnerships among stakeholders. That control that we exercise over investment decisions and performance monitoring allows for a much more effective alignment with sustainable objectives, especially in greenfield development projects. So now, having touched on the principles and the policy, let's review a few of the highlights of the ESG improvements we achieved in 2023. We'll start with biodiversity, and I'm particularly excited about this one because we set ourselves a big ambition to adopt a more structured approach to and more ambitious approach to biodiversity. In 2023, we developed and implemented our new biodiversity strategy so that we can take account of the evolving biodiversity preservation needs and the responsibility of our platforms on this journey. Now, this new strategy particularly focuses on stimulating thinking to enhance biodiversity across all our platforms. It allows us to comprehensively assess both the positive and the negative impacts of our projects on biodiversity, and that allows us to pinpoint interventions for improvement, to quantify anticipated impacts, and to track actual outcomes over time. And we've set an internal goal to initiate at least one biodiversity assessment for each of our platforms in 2024. To do that, we've partnered with local specialised consultancy firms so that we can undertake baseline assessments, for example, as part of ecological surveys and environmental impact assessments. And in particular, we've made sure that we go much further than may be required in areas where we have obligatory environmental impact assessments to conduct the most comprehensive baseline assessment possible. And that's also part of making sure that we operate a really scientific and rigorous approach. By collecting baseline data, it allows us to identify what's big and what's small, where we have the largest opportunity to have an impact or to mitigate a negative impact, and it allows us to measure over time how we're doing based on what we thought was the opportunity. In this way, we can make sure that we've identified opportunities for nature-positive interventions and that those are embedded in the design and construction and operational phases of our projects. And we'll give updates on the progress of these assessments and the ongoing initiatives in our future integrated reports. Now, moving on now to greenfield additionality and avoided emissions. Now, you'll remember we've talked about this a lot in the last couple of years, and it remains a key focus for us. In 2023, we continued our efforts to enhance the measurement of the impact of developing greenfield projects on avoided and generated CO2 emissions. Now, this ongoing work provides us with a much better understanding of the indirect supply chain, so the Scope 3 emissions that are associated with building new projects, such as through the procurement and transportation of our equipment, industrial heat pumps or wind turbines, to the sites where they're going to be installed. To do this, we had to collaborate really closely with each of our platforms and their suppliers to make sure that we enhance data collection and reporting mechanisms, all in support of our net zero ambitions. Now, due to building new greenfield projects and a lot of construction activity in 2023, our avoided emissions in the year went up, and that will always be the case when we're in a construction phase. This was mainly related to supply chain emissions. And this, of course, led to an increase in the year in our total portfolio emissions. But luckily, these emissions are just a small fraction in comparison with the wider avoided emissions we create by building and operating these sustainable platforms. And we're really proud to record a 24% increase in our annual avoided emissions. And if we give an example of how we're forecasting avoided emissions, Iona's pipeline of upcoming projects is projected to annually avoid approximately 390,000 tonnes of CO2 emissions by 2030. Now that is a really big number, and to give you some sense of it, that's equivalent to driving 4 billion kilometres in an average gasoline-powered car, or 97,000 times around the world. Now, this data will assist you, our clients, in understanding the impact of your investment in Iona, and it will help us track our progress towards achieving the 2030 net zero goals. On the social front, I'll start with human rights and our supply chain, because this is another area we've made a step forwards in 2023. So we developed a new human rights and modern slavery statement in 2023 to reiterate our commitment to preserving human rights at Asper, in our portfolio companies, and throughout our value chain. And we further developed our comprehensive supplier screening tool to identify any ESG issues, including human rights related issues, in the supply chain. And we aim to have active dialogues with our key suppliers to understand how they deal with these important topics and mitigate related risks. And health and safety remains a really essential topic as well, and it's something that's important to mention and never let it slip down the agenda. We held individual health and safety engagement sessions with our portfolio companies throughout the year, and we're really happy to have witnessed 0 health and safety incidents at our portfolio companies. However, there were some incidents at the subcontractor level, and we'll continue to engage with our portfolio companies to make sure we help them implement best preventative practice, even down at that level. And then in terms of community engagement, another really essential topic, we want our portfolio companies to be good neighbours, outstanding employers, and responsible links in their value chains. So each project that we build, when operational, is required to develop a good neighbour and nature plan, and then to identify and implement the necessary actions to respect and foster both the surrounding natural habitats and communities. In 2023, we organised and held over 70 community engagements in the platforms that we operate, and over 700,000 euros in community benefit funds was dispersed to the local communities. And then finally, on governance. So when governing ESG, well, we do quite a lot. We held additional portfolio training sessions, and this covered a really wide set of topics: decarbonisation, health and safety, ESG regulations, stakeholder management, and anti-corruption and bribery. So you can see the range of things we cover when we consider ESG. We continue to undertake our ESG due diligence, with 100% of our new suppliers screened on sustainability issues. So now I'll hand over to Jiska, and she will expand on some of the concrete projects we've undertaken in 2023, and I think hopefully by using more examples further bring to life some of the issues and projects you'll have seen on the page in the sustainability report.
Thank you. I will start with 2 case studies on biodiversity, a topic that is increasingly gaining importance. And as the Guardian newsletter put it well before, talking has not stopped biodiversity loss. Now we need action. So besides the creation of Asper's biodiversity strategy, we went out into the fields. I will start with the initiative at Invest Energy in Ireland. And to set the scene, our platform Invest Energy is one of Ireland's leading independent producers of renewable electricity from onshore wind, accounting for 11% of country's capacity. Initiated through a sequence of funds since 2011, the organization has grown steadily, Asper and Invest Energy became part of the Nature plus Energy Biodiversity Research Project, together with several other wind players as shown on the slides. And this is the first biodiversity project of this scale for the onshore wind industry in Ireland. The project aims to do three things. One, to maximize the positive impact of wind farms on biodiversity. Secondly, to mitigate any negative effects on biodiversity and habitats. And thirdly, to improve the communications on these matters. And some ways to boost biodiversity could include improving pollination, water filtration, and creating more habitats for wildlife around the sites. Site visits are being conducted to better understand the current state of the ecosystems, to identify opportunities for improvement, and to develop action plans to roll out per wind farm. Run by the Trinity College Dublin, we are very excited about the positive impact of this work on nature and the valuable scientific knowledge that will be gained throughout this project. And in addition to our work on onshore wind projects, we also choose to pilot these kind of assessments at our district heating projects. And even though these projects are in more urban areas, the importance of protecting and improving nature is still there. We collaborated with local ecologists to conduct a biodiversity assessment at one of our development projects in the Netherlands. And when this project will be operational, the network will supply the local business park with waste heat sourced from nearby data centers. We carried out a desktop research to assess the ecological condition of the area as a starting point, and we visited the site with our local experts to obtain further information. We found out that a total of 50 red list threatened species have been documented in the surrounding area over the past years, each with differing levels of vulnerability. Among them are 11 species for which we have the opportunity to enhance the biodiversity conditions in the area. Notably, this will include creating a better habitat for the endangered northern wheatear at the top of the slide, the swallow, and for the vulnerable long-eared owl at the bottom of the slide. And having this scientific data is key. Now we're able to prioritize interventions to attract these important species by focusing on improving life for insects, creating brush, and increasing connectivity. Enhancing biodiversity in a local business area provides significant ecological benefits, including preserving natural ecosystems and increasing their resilience to environmental changes. Taken together, this pilot project will help us draw up a more comprehensive methodology for establishing a baseline, and it helps us to develop a framework for measuring the impact and effectiveness of our interventions. We are very inspired by the idea of going beyond the legal requirements on this topic, as these things can be very low cost but high impact for local communities and local ecosystems. We will keep working on similar projects and will keep you updated on the findings and actions. Continuing with EVE, but shifting from an environmental example to a case study on the social side. 2023 was an important year for EVE, as it has been providing local heat to communities for 10 years now. As it started as a small initiative in Ede, its activities now cover already 15 municipalities in the Netherlands. And this 10-year milestone was celebrated, therefore, with hundreds of representatives from partners and stakeholders. Speeches were given by the mayor of Ede and representatives from the Dutch Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate. EVE also received the Best Social Initiative Award at the Private Equity European ESG Summit in 2023. This award recognizes its commitment to community involvement, especially through its Heat Council initiative, which promotes community input into the energy transition. Additionally, it got granted for the various community projects and donations in 2023, showing its commitment to a positive social and environmental impact. And on the governance side of things, we have upgraded our approach in 2023. Anti-bribery and corruption and anti-money laundering training has been embedded in Asper's employee onboarding program for a long time, helping to foster a culture of ethical conduct internally. Last year, we also expanded this training to our platforms, even though they may not fall within the scope of the Financial Conduct Authority, our regulator. Working with One Energy, our UK district heating platform, we successfully implemented the onboarding program to their entire organization. The aim is to ensure sound anti-corruption awareness within the platforms as a preventative measure. And this collaborative effort to build capacity shows our dedication to active ownership. We exchange our insights and develop new processes together. We always look for ways to foster collaboration, efficiency, and enhancements. So these were all examples of how we're creating and safeguarding ESG value in our investments through concrete actions. Now it's time to give the floor to Luigi to talk us through our second pillar, our clients and industry.
Good afternoon. So pillar 2, our clients and our industry. In Asper, we want our clients to see us as their trusted partner who can help them achieve their financial objectives while supporting the shift to sustainability. Now, our work goes beyond sustainable infrastructure. We also create businesses and engage with the people who are part of them, from developers to operators, from regulators to communities. And we think that by exchanging our insights, our experiences and challenges, we can open up new possibilities, new partnerships and learning for everyone. Thanks to Jiska and her team, we have started reaching out to and engaging with our investors and industry partners on ESG topics. And we want to hear what they think and expect and work with them to raise the bar for sustainability in the sector together. And we are not just about words, we are about actions. We are involved in several industry associations and working groups that have the same goal of a more sustainable and low carbon future. For example, we work with the IVL Swedish Environmental Institute on the EU taxonomy for sustainable finance. Or we're helping shape the UK heat network industry by being part of the consultation body to improve the quality and standards of new networks. We are active members of the Euroheat and Power Association to support efficient and renewable heating and cooling solutions. And at the investor level, we participate in the IIGCC Sustainable Finance and UK Taxonomy working groups to align our investments with climate goals. Now, we select carefully the forums in which to engage. And in these, our team members will attend or present at webinars and conferences, building networks with other industry players. And these can be very effective, not only at driving industry standards, but also for influencing policy, gathering industry intelligence, and cultivating valuable relationships. Now, in 2023, we had the privilege of contributing as speakers to several notable events, including Super Return International Infrastructure. Super Return is one of the world's largest private equity events where we have been contributing as speakers for a few years now. Or Private Equity Wire, where we shared some insights on how to build an agile, resilient and future-proof investment business. Euroheat and Power Congress, where our director Olivier Del Pont-de-Vaux participated in a panel discussion on de-risking solutions for heat networks. The European Sustainable Energy Week, one of Europe's largest events dedicated to renewable energy, where Jiska hosted a session exploring best practices in mobilizing private and public investments to accelerate the transition. Or even the Global Infrastructure and Energy Dialogue Summit, where Asper's co-founder Luis Quiroga shared our perspective on greenfield investments needed for the energy transition. Now, these are just some examples, but they give you a sense of the wide engagement of our team members in the industry. And this is something that we have intentionally set out to achieve a few years ago and we are particularly proud to see happen. Now, I'm also really proud to say that 2023 has been another year of outstanding achievements and recognition for our team. For the 8th year in a row, we participated in the GRESB assessment to measure the ESG performance of our funds, portfolio companies, and ourselves as asset manager. Now, our previous results were already excellent, but we managed to improve even further, outperforming industry peers and setting a higher standard for ourselves. Now, the GRESB scores, they indicate how well a fund or an asset does on ESG management and performance, with 100% being the highest score possible. Now, we improved our scores at the fund level. Asper Colomba for Irish Wind scored 95%, up from 92% last year. And Asper Dorothea for Dutch heat networks scored 94%, up from 90%. We also improved at the asset level. The Invis onshore wind platform scored 93, up from 89, and the Dutch district heating platform Eve scored 92, up from 86. And Norsta, the very large Swedish wind portfolio in our Vasa wind platform, well, it maintained its outstanding score of 96%, and it is today in the top 3 best performing renewable assets in the whole of Europe. Now, in 2024, we will expand the scope of our GRESB assessment to our newest UK funds, Duke for heating and Iona for wind, and include their portfolio companies One Energy and ePower. For a few years now, we also report on the United Nations Principle for Responsible Investment, the UNPRI. And this is a benchmark assessment, it's annual. It's a comprehensive evaluation that measures an organization's sustainability commitments and performance. As a PRI signatory since 2016, we are delighted to see our performance consistently improving across the 3 PRI assessment categories. So first, there is policy, governance, and strategy. And in 2023 here, we have outperformed on this module by achieving a score of 99% compared to a median score of 51 for our peer group. Now, this outperformance reflects recognition for our policy commitments, our strong governance structure, robust external reporting mechanism, and the overall ability to integrate ESG in our strategy. Second comes direct infrastructure. And here we obtained the highest possible score of 100, showcasing our ability to integrate ESG considerations across all stages of the investment process, from fundraising, pre-investment, due diligence, operator selection, post-investment, stakeholder management, all the way to exit. And third, confidence building measures. And this is a new module, and it ranks organizations on their internal and external ESG controls and third-party assurance. Although we scored higher than our peers, 80%, we recognize that there is scope for further improvement here, and we will be hard at work to raise the bar in this area. Now, we are very proud of these achievements and even more importantly of the underlying results that are driving these scores, and we will keep working really hard to engage even more with our clients and our industry. But now it's time to move on to the third pillar, our firm. So here we're going to be delving into some of our actions and progresses that we made in 2023. And first to say, we see our team as the key to the success of our organization. We rely on their energy, on their expertise, and on their dedication to our shared goals and values. So we focus a lot on our culture, on our career growth and the opportunities, the team well-being, on diversity, equity, and inclusion. In 2023, Asper welcomed 6 new team members, bringing forward a diversity of new skills, talent, backgrounds, and experience. Now, as our team grows, we need to keep supporting and developing our talent. And last year, our operations teams worked really hard to support the career development and well-being of our team members. One example of how we promote togetherness is our super huddles, which we started in 2020, and they are a combination of professional and team building activities that bring us together and brings us closer in busy times. In 2023, we organized 4 super huddles where the whole firm worked together on a wide range of topics, from our 2030 strategy to working with entrepreneurs or how to give and receive feedback, for example. And we actively promote a culture of respect and openness. And for Asper, diversity does not automatically mean inclusion. It's not enough just to hire diverse people. We need to empower one another. We need to ensure inclusion in the decision making and listen to each other's different views. We firmly believe that true leadership is about leading people that are different to yourself. And research backs this up. The most diverse companies are more likely to outperform their peers. And this is why we track our KPIs and are happy to see our numbers keep getting better. Our investment team gender diversity improved, with the share of women in the team up from 23 to 31%. And we are now above the European average, which is about 20%. This is a good outcome in an industry with quite some historical gender bias, and we will keep working to make it even better. This is also reflected in our annual employee survey, which indicated that 96% of the team feel that they have equal access to growth and development opportunities. And as part of our commitment to DEI, we will continue to refine our policies firm-wide on recruitment, professional development, compensation and promotions. Now, looking ahead, our 2030 vision. This year, one of our most notable milestones has been the development of our 2030 plan and strategy. So a large portion of our team worked together on our vision and growth plan for the coming 7 years, centered around our mission to build a new and aligned with our culture and values. While heating and cooling remains the centerpiece of our plan, we also analyzed market trends and identified opportunities for future focus. And this includes, for example, industrial energy efficiency, power storage infrastructure, where both hold very strong fundamentals and a good potential fit with what we call the Asper recipe, which is a mix of established technologies, the ability to deliver attractive return from greenfield development, and most importantly, support for entrepreneurial developers. So in the broader hardware revolution, we are exploring new pathways for sustainable growth. In the short term, our focus will be on grid flexibility services and, of course, the broader theme of electrification of energy. In the long run, we see potential for other areas of the transition where our platform approach can lead to value creation from real asset rollouts. At the same time, we are seeing true potential in the growth of our existing platforms, both on the technology side, so harnessing, for example, the waste heat from data centers, water reservoirs, but also on the service side, for example, adding building refitting or energy services onto our existing platforms. As we prepare for further expansion, our main goal is to maintain our unique culture and values, and we value organizational identity, our diverse and inclusive culture, both within our team and across the broader firm. So looking ahead, what should you expect from us in 2024? Well, an area of focus this year will be to refine the KPIs that we measure and track, updating them and also ensuring that the science behind them is solid. And we're working on this together with our portfolio companies. A second area of development is that we have selected and started to use a new software provider to automate the data collection process from our portfolio companies. And this will help us getting more robust ESG data and also help with some of the controls and certification. Third, we will continue with our biodiversity projects together with our portfolio companies, and this is something that we are really, really excited about. From a firm perspective, we launched a brand new training program that will go live this year, and this will make it easier for our existing and new team members to acquire and develop the skills that they need. And we will keep our focus on employee well-being and DEI through all of our internal initiatives. Now, while we are really proud of our 2023 achievements, we know that there is so much to do and so much more work ahead for us. And as we look ahead, we are really excited about the prospect of delivering and reporting to you more results from this work as we keep investing responsibly in a better future, building the new together with you. So we have reached now the end of the main presentation with the overview of our sustainability efforts in 2023, and we will now address the question that we received from you and from our community. And if we couldn't answer your question right here now due to time, we will make sure that we follow up with you in the following days.
To start with, one question we got was on the Science-Based Target Initiative. What are your plans in relation to the Science-Based Target Initiative? Has your company committed to setting science-based targets throughout the year? All right, so that's a good question. And although the Science-Based Target Initiative originally targeted mainly the carbon-intensive companies, we also see a big value of getting our portfolio companies through that journey. In 2022, we have committed ourselves to setting carbon-intensive reduction measurements and also to commit to develop these targets. And after pledging this at the end of 2022, we have now been working with our portfolio companies to create the decarbonization plans and to go through the whole certification phase together with Science-Based Targets Initiative. So we will keep you informed and happy to share more information in the upcoming year. Thank you.
Yes, and another question we received from you is about community engagement around our projects. And the question is, how does Asper structurally support the communities in which we operate, particularly in terms of sustainability? Now, during the course of our presentation, we talked about our Good Neighbour and Nature plans, and that really is the primary vehicle through which we organise and track our community engagement. As you heard, stakeholder relations play a really vital role in the success and the viability of new and operational infrastructure projects. So this is a really important piece of work. Each of our projects, when operational, is required to have a Good Neighbour and Nature plan. And this will identify opportunities and document the local engagement actions and biodiversity actions that we plan to implement. In 2023, we actually committed to develop and roll out these plans at all new operational projects so that we can be working on the level that we can build up in years to come. And we also ensure that all portfolio companies set up effective communication channels and stakeholder complaints management systems in order to foster transparency, to address concerns promptly, and to continuously improve their operations through constructive feedback. So in this way, we're really able to take on board the views of communities and make sure there are concrete actions that are in place addressing their concerns and our impact on natural habitats.
Very good. There was a third question, which is around the, if you could elaborate more on the third-party certifications and the assurance. And this is a really relevant and very important topic. And I would say the headline here is that the approach that we're taking is gradual. So we have been going through priorities. And the first priority, of course, has been on the portfolio company level, where we have been actively encouraging, and we have now certification on environmental and health and safety areas in the Dutch heat network platform, in Sweden. We're actively working in the UK, so we're gradually really encouraging the platforms to adopt this. At the firm level, this year the focus is going to be on the data first and foremost. So the new software that we are rolling out is going to allow us to lay the foundations of this, and this is going to be the goal for 2024. And then we're going to go gradually and giving priority to the most important KPIs. Maybe Jiska, you can give us a bit of a sense of the timeline from here.
Yeah, sure. So this year we already received assurance on our sustainable finance disclosure regulation documents. It's called the periodic disclosure document, and it has been assured by Deloitte, which is already a step ahead. But we are also planning to eventually obtain assurance on key KPIs like carbon, scope 1 and scope 2 and scope 3 emissions, but also the avoided emissions and key indicators like health and safety incidents. We still think that those are very important figures, and our community is eager to understand how it's being calculated and whether it's robust and rigorous. So that's the first or the second step, so to say, and gradually we will expand the scope and include more KPIs and more statements we make over the years. The regulation will take some time before having Asper in scope of the regulation. So that's the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive. That will be probably required around 2027, 2028. So we luckily have time enough to get ready and to comply with all that is coming up.
So definitely an area where we're going to be reporting back to you on our progress on our journey towards this certification over the next couple of years, so something to stay tuned on. Well, thank you so much for your attention and for being with us with this webinar, and also I thank you also to the portfolio companies and to the team that has put together the materials, and we hope you have found this informative and useful, and we are really looking forward to engaging with you over the next weeks and months on these topics, and see you next year. Thank you.